everyone. Welcome to the October 15th, 2024 Town Board meeting. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Councilman Wyshensky is excused tonight. The first item on the agenda is a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant, and I will open this public hearing at 6:30. If anyone would like to come up and address the board regarding the use of federal community development funds, please step up to the mic, give us your name and address.
All right, so Donna Bodecker, 1736 Center Street in East Aurora. I'm here to talk about the wall that we need to replace at the senior center. A bunch of you have seen the issues we've been having. It's a Band-Aid right now. The company, which was in business for hundreds of years, at least a couple, they tell me, is no longer in business. So we've tried to repair it. We've had a couple of different companies out, got some estimates, and given those to Martha. We've been kind of working on that. So with fingers crossed, we're hoping it stays functioning until we can replace it. And it's, you know, roughly about the $100,000 range. Originally, now it's been there 23 years. It was over $50,000 when they put it in. So it's probably not a bad jump, you know, in 23 years, but it still is a lot of money. So hopefully we'll be successful with that. So anybody, any questions about it?
And that sort of request is in part contingent upon getting the grant, and if you did get the grant, would it cover 100% of it or a substantial portion of it?
There is a portion, I don't know what the percentage is, Martha, that
5%.
5%, so from the town.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly what those particulars will be, but you know, I don't know. That's up to the chief, I guess. But hopefully it'll cover most of it, so that'll be a good thing.
And is it a situation that, do you need to apply, do you need to sort of order and get bids on the door first, or get the grant first, or which comes first?
We did get some estimates
Right.
on the cost of it. One was, you know, a little under, probably $98,000. The other was like $150,000. So it depends on the companies. So I guess we have to go back to that process once we would get the award and go from there. So, and it's pretty vital to our day-to-day, you know, programming, you know, being able to have the different rooms and everything. So, but you could certainly come over and take a peek if you needed to, but I'm hoping.
Thank you, Donna.
Get a lot of points. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. Would anyone else like to address the board? No? Not yet.
Hi, Ellen Muma, 423 Oakwood Avenue. I'm wondering if there's any money for subsidized housing, for more subsidized housing in the town. I know people who are on a long waiting list to get in, and it's years now. So I'd love you to speak to that if anyone knows about it.
Okay.
We don't qualify.
Just like that. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have anything on that. This is specifically these use of the CD, what is it, CBDG block grant? But it's certainly a very important issue you've raised. It's just this public hearing concerns specifically that block grant money, which isn't nearly enough to address any sort of subsidized housing, but it is something that we need to take seriously and look at for sure. It's as you can imagine, a complicated prospect, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the board regarding the block grant? Seeing no one, I will close this public hearing at 6:34. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the town board meeting of September 23rd, 2024, and the abstract of claims for October 15th, 2024?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Ray will second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion?
Lighter buzz.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is audience one, an opportunity to address the board with items that are on this agenda. One thing that we do have a communication from the East Aurora Garden Club, and I believe we have representatives here from it. If anyone would like to address the board, please step up to the mic, give us your name and address.
Thank you. Christine Perazini, I'm at 439 Old Center Road. I'm here on behalf of the East Aurora Garden Club, and we have given you, I passed out a letter that you may have had time to go over, hopefully. And if you'll notice in the letter, which is written by one of our master gardeners, Lynn Camiro, who's here tonight, it presents the premise of what we want to talk about. And as you may know, we visited the village board, and we're here basically to ask you to begin the process of addressing this very serious and health and economic concerns due to the overabundance of deer in the village. We feel that it's reached a tipping point where it has become absolutely necessary for us to address this very important matter and to bring this to you. Our membership has implemented varying steps to counteract the deer problem and population rampaging through the village and the town, but at this point, nothing has worked. With our daily walks through the town and the village, we've noticed that every resident has incurred some type of damages, even those with fences. We no longer see one or two, we see 11 or 12, and Chuck told me 15 at a time or more. So this has deeply concerned us at many points, as you see with our impact list. The garden walk that we had in both areas of our town and village this past summer highlighted the importance of the ongoing concerns we have in our efforts to maintain the beauty of our village and town. Our discussions no longer centered around planting. Every place we visited was, how do you prevent the deer from eating your plants? So any new plantings that we've had, which are deemed deer preventative, or deer that they won't eat, deer resistant, they eat anyway. So we actually encountered a deer who was on the walk with us at the town historian's house. We have a picture to prove it. The deer was going in the back too. So as a community organization, we're concerned about this large increase and the impact on our fellow residents. So if you'll notice on the back of your letter that we sent, we have the impact of how it affects us, and we'd like to go over just brief points. To begin with, the large concentrations of deer have contributed to the increase in Lyme disease. Many of our club members have the disease, and their friends also. Deer and vehicle incidents, I'm sure there's not one person in the room who hasn't had a car incident or knows someone who had a collision with a deer. The DEC has noted that there's 70,000 annually, and that was years ago. I'm sure there are more at this point, with an average of $4,000 per collision to the individual, with almost 300 people killed per year. Also, with regard to property owners' expense, our personal members, one in the village spent $500 the night before the garden walk to update the plant situation that had been decimated, and a neighbor of mine spent $3,000 to replace all of her plants that had been destroyed by a deer herd. Crop damage, $59 million. What we're concerned about also is that the deer are reducing the diversity of plants and enabling invasive species. Also, residents, which we're not sure, understand that we have a law, a state law, that notes that there's no deer or moose feeding. So the village has updated their code to include that, which has been very helpful. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. As you note, you have some DEC information. The DEC supposedly has a plan for all villages and towns. And I also have another document that was sent to us by one of the village trustees, and it indicates the process that local villages are taking. In fact, Cheektowaga, Amherst are using police to prevent, they're separating some of their police force to help reduce the amount of deer. And with other communities using bow hunting, we already have some volunteers. At the village meeting, there were 2 bow hunters, the owners of Maine and Hamlin, who volunteered their services already. Mainly, our concern, obviously, is we would like to propose that you address the situation of the consequences that we have of the unchecked deer population. We'd like to have you develop a plan to reduce the overabundance and implement the procedures as soon as possible to relieve the village and town residents of problems related to the overabundance that we have. I have this for police chief. And these start, this article you may have already seen. It's an old one. It helps to tell us which towns and villages.
I don't need it. I'm good.
I can get one for you.
Thank you very much.
At your leisure, you can do that. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer any that you may have. Highlighted the towns that were close to us, Cheektowaga and, let's see, Clarence also has a bow hunting and rifle.
Well, methods in the town and methods in the village, it was going to be 2 different things.
Exactly.
But we
Right.
will discuss it, and
Right, the DEC
I don't know
helps you develop the plan that is right for the village and right for the
well,
town.
we don't develop the village plan.
No. We talk to the DEC, or you talk to the DEC,
Yeah.
and have them help you with guidance.
Yep.
Yeah,
You-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you have statistics as to how successful these efforts are?
Some of them are noted there.
Okay.
Some are also noted on the DEC website.
All right.
With the number, I think, in the town of Southold, Long Island, a little bit further, they were able to decrease the number of tick or Lyme disease that was reported once they started culling the deer. And they also sent 70,000 pounds of venison to the state program and their local programs. The programs here send them to Feed Western New York, veterans, et cetera. But it is listed on the DEC report.
Thanks.
So the town, at least, the vast majority of the town permits hunting.
Right.
So, and I just want to say that I fully support your initiative.
Thank you.
I know that you have a perspective in terms of plants and gardens, which is important.
And ticks.
I would just share personally that my brother-in-law was killed by a deer while I was riding his motorcycle. So this is a particular area of concern for me. And I've long recognized that we have too many deer in our community. And I think you rightly point out, even more seriously, growing up, Lyme disease was just this mysterious disease
Right.
that existed somewhere else. And now I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't know somebody
Exactly.
who suffers from Lyme disease. And I think you can add to that the issue of chronic wasting disease, which happens when deer are overpopulated. And it's, as we've learned recently, it's particularly harmful when animals suffer from disease and live in close proximity to livestock and people, because diseases have a way of jumping, right? So I think this is something we definitely need to look at, and we definitely need to find ways to reduce our deer population. But like I said, it's going to be challenging
It is.
since we already allow hunting in the town, and I think hunting as an activity overall has dropped off in popularity amongst the youth, right? They play video games now. But I just want to say I'm 100% supportive and willing to look into whatever we can do to help address this problem.
Thank you.
And are you going to surrounding towns also? Because obviously the deer are going to migrate to,
Well, as we understand, some of the surrounding towns, John has an article from West Seneca, who they already have a plan. We personally are not going to go. I think when you look at the DEC website, they will list the towns, and the article that I sent to you also has a list of towns and villages that are making an effort to try to reduce this extensive deer population.
sure.
I do have a question, because I live in the village, and I spend a little bit of time outside the village in the town, and I have noticed, the deer population in the village We see more deer. We see them crossing. There's a path that they cross
Yes.
from the creek up into certain places. But do you have any knowledge of an increase in the deer population in the town outside of the village? I'm just going to say, just on my own experience, I haven't noticed, the deer population, any different in the town. And maybe I've just noticed it because I live in the village and I see them and they cross right past my house.
Well, I do, because I'm the first house actually in the town, and since we have lived there, which is about 40 years, it is tremendously increased. And we used to be able to plant everything and not worry about the children outside. And, when my son was younger, a deer almost ran him over going across Old Center. But what we've seen lately is, like I said earlier, herds coming in. They think it's playtime. In the front yard, 10 or 12 playing around. And they really don't even move when I go out and shush them along, and they're very close to me. And yes, I think the resident that I spoke of earlier, 2 doors up from me, a whole herd came in and devoured her whole garden. And in addition to, I can hear at night when there's an accident and the police arrive and they have to dispose of the deer. I can hear the gunshot and the car accident, because it's a path going from Old Center over to Beach.
Right.
We actually, as concerned residents, try to shoo them back into the forest. Sometimes they go and other times they don't. But I can assure you, the town residents that I know have said a major increase, and then there's a major expense that we've had to incur, planting more plants, using all kinds of fertilizer and types of things to prevent them from coming in.
Yeah, we have no hostas at our house anymore.
Well,
Our
ours,
deer,
yeah.
deer salad, as my sister calls it.
Exactly.
We don't have
Everyone
any
in the
of that.
village
We try.
and most of us in the town, all gone.
And I can say, as I've been deer hunting since I was 14 or 16, whatever you could at that age there, and I can say that for a fact there are way more deer now than there were
Yes, I think.
50 years ago.
Well, I think Joe mentioned it, that the problems as we see them, and we all understand, is that people are not hunting as much,
Right.
and children are doing different things, and decimation is reported also by the DEC because of the herds of deer
Yep.
for the animals themselves.
One thing I've noticed, and I don't have any expertise on this, I don't know if anybody here does, but I remember maybe 10 years back, there seemed to be a healthy amount of coyotes in Knox Park, and then one day, they
Gone.
were all gone. I don't know, and I'm not saying we want more coyotes,
Right.
right? But it was just interesting that I remember driving down the field, the soccer fields that we have on Knox, and if you turned your headlights towards that field, you'd see nothing but eyeballs staring back at you. And I don't think there were kids having a keg party because the eyeballs were way lower to the ground. And somebody did something
Yeah.
to the coyotes in Knox
Changed.
Farm. They definitely went away, whether it was part of their seasonal movements or what. But
Right.
yeah, we need to come up with the best plan we can. I don't
Yeah.
think we have the magic there. I don't think there's a magic wand,
There is not.
but
We
there are too many
understand.
deer and they present too many dangers.
Right. And I don't think I mentioned that we're very willing to help in any way we can. If you need us on a committee or something, we're
Appreciate
we're
that.
ready to go, more than ready to go.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is under unfinished business. Sure. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Sandy Warner, and I live at 103 Berkeley Drive. We have tons of them. We're shooing them out of the yard every day, and I have Lyme's disease. And I got bit by a tick, went to immediate care. I obviously didn't get the right script. Didn't know what I was, such severe headaches. Went to emergency room 4 times. Finally, my husband called the ambulance. I remember none of it. Don't remember the ride. Don't remember about 4 or 5 days being in the hospital. I was in there a total of 8 days. I have permanent short-term memory loss. Sometimes my words don't come out at all, and it's because of that. I don't know how families can let their children out, we have deer poop all over the place. We're picking it up daily. You want a community where family is welcomed. You don't want East Aurora to be all of a sudden, oh, they're infested with ticks. You need to do something before the real estate does something with the ticks. I've had migraines before. A migraine does not touch what I went through. And I was months recovering. I can't tell you how sick I was. And there's some things now I'm told well, we went here or there. I don't even remember being there. And that was even after I came home from the hospital. My vision has been affected, my joints. The first thing it can affect is your heart. I'm so serious about this disease. People can die from it. People have ended up not being able to walk. It's one little.
Do you have any idea how long it was from the time you got bitten till the time you got some help? Was it 6 months?
No, 7 weeks.
7 weeks?
And at that point, I'd already lost up here. 7 weeks.
Wasn't it Dieter Voss's son?
And even being in the hospital, they kept on dealing with thinking migraines. But it never went away, my pain. And I would go from room to room at night, and I would not wish this on anyone. And now little children are getting it. Some of our members' grandchildren have it. Several members have it. If you had a family member with it, you would understand how severe this is.
As Councilman McCann said, I don't think any of us don't know someone
Correct.
who has it, that's for sure. So we're
And
in
everybody is
100%
affected
agreement.
differently, how severe it is. But we want to be this quaint town. We got to do something. And one of our members, this was when she was in Wisconsin, they didn't want, oh no, we can't do bait and shoot. Finally, they said, we'll rent a pack of wolves. Then they decided bait and shoot, the people that were down on it, decided, we better control the numbers than having wolf. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. We want this wonderful community, and I love it here. But I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean Hughes, Blakely Road. I'm in the town. And the government is supposed to help create policy for the betterment of the community. And you have speed limits. Everybody's got to slow down. You put up a new stop sign. We have to stop. We might not like it. And for the betterment of the community, the town really needs to do something. We have talked about this for a decade. We complain. Nothing happens. I would like to see a committee, and I would like to see the board. You're going to get pushback, okay? Let's start with that. People are going to feel sorry, but this is way overboard here. And I'd like to see some kind of policy and some kind of program. Yes, we have to cull the deer. Nobody wants to say that. I'll say it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ellen Muma, Spider House.
It's the official address.
That was a great-
423 Oakwood. we've talked to some of the caretakers and managers over at Knox Farm, and even with all of the acreage that they have, something, I don't know, 7,000 or so acreage over there, the deer are too thickly settled over at Knox. And, somebody was saying the other night, to me that, oh my gosh, he's over in Knox and he sees all the engaged couples who are getting their photographs taken, and they're all lying on the ground and they're doing all these nature shots. And it's downright dangerous at this point for them to be doing that. So even if we can't do something right away, I think it would be good publicity. I'm sorry, maybe some people don't think it's good publicity for the village to come out and let people know, but I think it's certainly disease-saving, and it could be life-saving to people. I know someone who's in our garden club, her daughter won't bring the grandchildren over to our member's house because she's so afraid that the grands will get Lyme disease there. So our member has to go to the daughter's house. So it's really changing people's lives even when they are healthy. Just another anecdote. So please help us, and we will surely be there to help you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
John Hughes, 1204 Blakely Road in the town. I didn't know my wife was going to speak tonight. She left out one thing. She's had Lyme disease twice.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, it was caught soon enough, and she knows what the symptoms are, and so she was immediately prescribed the proper antibiotic so that she didn't have to suffer other than waiting until she had gotten through her antibiotics and it was back to normal. But I'd like to add one thing, too. Again, it came up how many deer are in the town, but the town board agreed the population is really increasing. They sleep in our yard at night. If the wind's not blowing and a light rain, they're out there waiting for the sun to come up. We looked out the back window the other morning and there were 2 doe in our meadow looking directly to the east as if they're on an early morning date, just waiting for the sun to rise. And in the late afternoon, there's 5 of them. And we can tell by what time it is when they show up and so forth. Anyway, I want to add, women from the garden club have spoken about gardens and plants and things and the expense and maintaining and fencing and so forth. We have a woodlot. You can go out into the woods and you don't see any young trees. And if you do see some maples coming up and they get to be 8, 10, 12 inches tall, and you see them in the spring, by the end of summer, they're gone. I read an article about someone who worked for one of the state parks and said, when these older trees are gone, the woods is going to be gone because there's nothing coming in to replace them because everything is overbrowsed. Deer and their eating habits and so forth, they literally change the environment. They make it impossible for other things to live there because the food that these smaller animals and so forth would have relied on aren't there. So again, my point is this issue is very big. There's nothing in our town or our village that isn't affected by it. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Lynn Camara, 170 Pine Street. I don't want to belabor this, and I appreciate the fact that I see a lot of nodding heads and you are open to this situation. I'm a master gardener trained at Cornell. Cornell has declared deer the biggest ecological problem that nobody is doing much about at this point. And John's point about the woods and the native plants and the trees being gone, you can't hike anywhere. Knox, sinking ponds. When we moved here, the hillsides were filled with trillium and wildflowers and there's nothing there now. Nothing on the ground, Emery Park, any of the areas around here. So it's beyond the garden flowers. It's even beyond the problem with Lyme's disease, car accidents, which is economically in this state the biggest problem with deer is the economics of car accidents and people dying. But please do something quick. Nature and a lot of us are waiting for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'd like to thank you all for coming and giving us your viewpoints and your thoughts and ideas, and certainly the over-browsing is an issue, that's for sure, but I hadn't thought of it as exactly as you have, John. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Next on the agenda, under unfinished business, is the CDBG grant. We usually don't vote on agenda items the same meetings as we have the public hearing. However, to meet a time constraint for the Community Development Block Grant, can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign, submit, and execute the contracts with the Erie County Development Block Grant Program for the movable wall at the senior center and the continuation of the Rural Transit Services Program?
So moved.
Motion by Ray, second by Jim.
I'll second it.
Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the short-term rental. Can I have a motion to approve setting a public hearing to be held by the town board to approve the proposed special use permit for short-term rental at 95 Cook Road?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the Davis Road rezone, and I have an email from Al Franjone, and the applicant for the rezoning on Davis Road has withdrawn his application.
Email's good enough? Email's good enough? Sure. Okay.
Next, under new business, is a request from Chris. Can I have a motion to approve using Northeast Recreation as the installer of the new playground equipment as attached at the community pool park?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
It looks great. I like that we're seeing what we're getting in advance, and I think it's going to be a great little playground.
Yep. And thank you for everything you did with this, Councilman McCann. We
All I did was raise a stink. You're welcome.
It worked out all the way
Good
back.
stink.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a JCAP grant. Can I have a motion to approve the following resolution? Whereas the Town of Aurora Justice Court desires to submit a grant application to the Justice Court Assistance Program, JCAP, for funding to upgrade the clerk's office door to a metal door, upgrade the court clerk's transaction window to tempered glass with bullet-resistant film, and upgrade the courtroom door by installing tempered glass with bullet-resistant film, along with the purchase of a new wall-mounted 32-inch security monitor. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of the Town of Aurora authorizes the Aurora Town Court to apply for the JCAP grant in the 24-25 grant cycle up to $30,000.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? Paul, do you have anything to add to that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a short-term bed and breakfast. Can I have a motion to approve sending a special use permit application to the planning board for comments and recommendations for the B&B request at 275 Bowen Road for the owners of being James and Donna Atkinson?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
I just have a question for Liz, if you know about that particular project. And if you don't, I'm sure they'll take a look at it.
I haven't seen the application yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is another referral to the planning board. Can I have a motion to approve sending the rezoning request to the planning board for comments and recommendations for the property at 397 Old Glenwood Road by owner Connor Schneider?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request from Liz. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the proposal from GHD, represented by Cammie Jarrell, to review the SWIPs for the property at 595 Snyder Road?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
Liz, can you give us the brief skinny on this?
This is a single-family residential property that was a wooded 2-acre lot, and the developer cleared the entire lot at the property owner's request. When you hit an acre of land clearing or land activity on a residential lot, it requires a SWIP. And so for the last 4 months, I've been working with them to make sure that we get the SWIP prepared. And then this request is a formality to have GHD do the review of the SWIP to ensure that it meets all of the New York State DEC permit requirements.
And is the landowner going to pay that $1,000, or does that fall to the town?
It'll go to the developer. We'll send them a bill.
Developer. Okay.
And
Thank
or
you.
property owner, however that works out.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, also a request from Liz. Can I have a motion to approve our code enforcement officer, Liz Cassidy, to attend the Niagara Frontier Building Officials Conference on January 27th to 29th? Cost will be $300 and come from line A3620.404. Mileage will be approximately $26 a day, and this is all contingent upon the approval of the 2025 budget.
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a request from Steve Pigeon, our assessor. Can I have a motion to approve hiring GAR Associates to do an independent appraisal as required by law in the amount of $6,500 for the preliminary appraisal, $8,400 for the courts-ready appraisal, with a $200 per hour pre-trial cost and a $250 an hour trial cost. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
Yeah, I'm going to ask if we can table this, because I've been talking with Steve or Roger, I'm not quite sure, our assessor, and I was trying to get some information also from Bennett DiFilippo about this. Initially, it looks like the request is to take a look at the 3 different bids, but I had asked our assessor why we needed this at this time, because there's a new assessment petition that was just filed in July, and his answer was, I really don't know. The attorney said we needed it. The judge ordered it, and it's the judge didn't order it, but his law clerk did, so that's pretty close to being the same thing. And I was trying to get an idea why that was needed on this particular petition, and I wasn't able to get an answer yet from Bennett's office.
Well, I believe that West Her is challenging the appraisal. And the next steps when they challenge it is to get an independent appraisal to see if Steve's, our assessor's appraisal is correct. And at that point in time, then the West Her, in this particular case, can decide whether they want to take it to court, put it in front of a judge, for the judge to decide that it's fair or not, and go from there. We just did this with Fisher Price. So, I mean, if you want to table it for 2 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you why I want to table it for 2 weeks. Is not every petition has to go to an appraisal. So they've already made that petition. They've already petitioned the court. There's already a judge assigned to it. So they're already petitioning it. And the town, as you know, has several petitions, including Fisher Price and other businesses that want that. And it's rare, it's rare that an appraisal is required. So it's rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
As I understand it from Steve, that's part of the process.
It's very rare that that's ever part of the process. Most appraisals, most petitions get resolved, get settled. This may be at an impasse where they just can't get to a number, and so they have to get that at least initial appraisal.
I believe that's what this is. But
okay.
I'll
Go ahead.
rescind that motion, and we'll table it for 2 weeks.
If everyone else is okay with that. But.
Yeah, that sounds good.
More information is better, absolutely.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion to rescind that previous motion and have in this new motion, table the appraisal for the West Her?
I'll rescind my motion.
I'll rescind my second, if that's necessary. And I'll make a motion to table this to table it.
I thought I made that motion, but.
Did you make that motion?
I thought I did.
Yeah, then I'll second that.
Any further comments or discussion?
I think I've said enough. No more comments.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, I thought you asked for a motion. That was my bad.
That's right. Martha's got it.
Yeah.
Next is a request from Dave. Can I have a motion to change the job title and rate of pay for Joe Kenneflick? He is currently a laborer at $20.19 per hour. Joe has passed the CDL test and is doing an outstanding job. Effective October 26th, 2024, his new job title will be truck driver at $24.70 per hour.
So moved.
Motion by Ray, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
Real quick, I just think it's fantastic that we hire folks, and if you work hard and are diligent about it, you can move on up the chain. I think this is exactly how things should happen. So good for Joe.
He's a lifetime resident, and I think he's a hunter too, so we might be able to get a twofer here.
There you go.
Fill your truck up.
Pardon me?
Nothing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the highway. Can I have a motion to approve the purchase of a Peterbilt 220 Leaf vacuum truck at the cost of $272,093.67 from Stevenson Equipment? This will be paid from the 2026 budget, line DB 5130.217, contingent upon approval of the 2026 budget.
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion?
I have another one on that. So we're passing we're going to go ahead and approve this, but it's contingent upon it being included in the 2026 budget.
Yes.
Therefore, this isn't a final approval of purchase of this
That
item.
is correct.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything further?
And they acknowledge that fact, too.
It's right in the motion, so.
All right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the health insurance. Can I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the independent health account size verification form and independent health 2025 rate form as part of the January 1st, 2025 renewal?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion?
Yeah, I did talk to Kathleen about that. I mentioned, helping my kids, looking at their own health insurance, and whether or not there was any quote at the bronze level. Depending on how old you are, how healthy you are, that could be a viable option. So I'm not sure if she's going to go back to Hartloff and see if she can get some additional options, but that's...
She's got 4 options on it.
No, but at a bronze level, it's platinum.
Oh, lower yet?
Yeah, lower than that.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
sure.
know, you're young and healthy and not a care in the world, maybe that's another option. Okay?
Sure, sure. Any other comments?
Nope.
Can she get back, John? Can she get back, John?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
She thinks-
Motion carried. Next, we have a budget amendment. Can I have a motion to increase line number A2389 miscellaneous revenue, other governments by $500 and increase appropriation line A7189.105 seasonal parks labor Knox Park?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a budget transfer from Highway Superintendent Dave Gunner. Can I have a motion to approve the following budget transfers as listed?
So moved.
Motion by Jim. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion?
Can you give us the once-over on this?
Essentially, Dave or Liz, whoever did it, has the balances wrong. But I've gone through this with Kathleen a couple of times, and it is right. He just doesn't put where the transfers are, he just puts, because the first line is the money going in, the second line is the money coming out. So,
And just to be clear, for those watching at home, we're not spending any money here, we're just moving budget item lines around. So
Exactly.
even though these are big numbers,
Yes.
it doesn't mean money's going out the door.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is some budget amendments by Chris, which is pretty straightforward. Can I have a request, or can I have a motion to approve the listed budget amendments as stated?
So moved.
Motion by Ray. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next is for a public hearing for the preliminary budget. Can I have a motion? Oh, I missed one?
And there's no piece of paper there, you just have to approve the tentative budget. And
Yeah. Oh,
you have to approve the tentative budget, so it becomes preliminary, and then you set the public hearing.
okay, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the preliminary,
The tentative.
Huh?
Tentative.
the tentative budget?
So moved.
Motion by Jim, second, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ray. Comments or discussion? I just want to say for the record that we will be having our October 30th budget meeting, so keep that on your calendars, gentlemen. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, can I have a motion to hold a public hearing on the 2025 preliminary operating budget at 6:30 PM on October 28th at the Aurora Municipal Center, 575 Oakwood Avenue?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Comments or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under communication, we have the September 2024 Building Department, and I just want to make a note that there was a little glitch in the formula, that those numbers on the very first page were a little bit off, but we were working to remedy that issue. We also have the September 2024 Senior Center, the town clerk tax from August 2024, town clerk tax from September 2024, the town clerk water and town clerk garbage from September 2024, the senior center services, senior van report, the East Aurora Garden Club letter, which we've heard many speak about, and the supervisor's report for September 24. Business from the board members and liaisons. We'll start with Councilman McCann.
Okay. I don't think this came up during this last meeting. I was otherwise engaged, but we did receive the energy audit for the senior center. Donna, did you get a chance to take a look at that? It was good. It was great, actually, because, good in that they couldn't find any substantial changes that needed to be made. But obviously, if you have an audit done, you want to find all kinds of fun things you can do to make things better. But kudos to you and the building you run, and to the highway department and the folks who built it, because it really didn't have many things to say. So, good job. And then the other thing is, and I know Chuck and I have talked about this, I don't know if anybody's watching online, but we've talked about the kayak launch. Obviously, that's still a work in progress, but hasn't been forgotten about. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing on that, Chuck. So, that's all I have.
Thank you. Jim?
So I guess I am liaison to the assessor's office, but I've had conversations, with, you call him Steve and I call him Roger. I don't know if it's...
Well, Roger's his dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I probably shouldn't call him that.
No.
So Mr. Pigeon and I have had some conversations this week, and I think we're both very happy with, Bennett, Deflippo, Kurtzholz, et cetera, doing the work there. But I want to continue to have conversations about that process and see if there's any way that we can, just maybe get some additional information when requests like this are made, so that I think we can have maybe a more fruitful discussion. I'm happy to do that with him and report to the board before our next meeting. He's more than happy to do it as well, but I think that's a whole lot of money to be spent. I'm not an expert in Article 7s, but I've been doing them for many years, and it could be the judge, but it's very rare that and Fisher Price seems to be one, and now West Her, and spending tens of thousands of dollars. It may be necessary, and I'm not trying to look over their shoulder, but I think maybe getting a better idea to the board might be the thing to do.
Sure.
So
Sure,
that's all I
Asking
wanted.
questions,
Yeah.
there's never anything wrong with that, so.
Right. Good.
Ray?
Yeah, a few things. The town park sign wording project, it's proven to be more difficult than we first imagined. And we do have a first draft of the language. Certainly needs more discussion, and hopefully we'll have more updates in the future. Second, the GIS data agreement with the Land Conservancy. We expressed some concerns about their restrictive language, went back to them, and they said, yeah, we realize that you may have to provide that information if somebody does foil it. but it was only verbal. So I went back to them and say that we really need something, documentation
Right.
that says, yeah, we're okay with that. So we're waiting for that documentation to come back.
Good.
Okay? So that way we'll clarify that. Then the other thing is the comprehensive plan. The press release went out earlier in the month, 10/3 to be specific. I've already gotten a little bit of feedback, so at least 2 people have read it and are asking about how they can get more information and be more involved. So Chuck, you mentioned at the meeting that one of the critiques of the New York Forward was that people claim that they didn't know about it. We've gone out in the newspaper, Facebook, website, all these things, but everybody doesn't participate in that. So there was some discussion. I did talk to Martha briefly. We've, of course, already sent out the bills for taxes. Receipts would only go back to them in the mail if they had an escrow account. So I do know that Labella is taking a look at being able to formulate a postcard somewhere in the, it seems a little bit too good to be true, somewhere in the 11-cent range. I would suspect it probably be more than that. But then we can reach out to all the residents. I mean, you can't guarantee that these people are taking a look at their mail and not tossing it like my wife does when it's not a bill or something. But at least we're going to make that attempt, to communicate. So we had a great first meeting. We reviewed, the historical comprehensive plan, the grant funding. We had some discussions about focus areas such as West Falls, Blakely, South Wales, and possible focus on commercial development, which is in the original plan, like Route 16, 20A, and Davis Road was another suggestion. So moving forward with that, next meeting is going to be December 10th, and in that we'll do a SWOT analysis, mapping exercise, and start stakeholder interviews. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of time to wrap this up so that there's time for review and approval by the board. So we're planning on getting this pulled together by August of next year.
Wonderful.
Okay. And I still need more stakeholder suggestions, to send to Labella. So, but you're thinking caps on, and let me know. Okay.
Thank you, Ray.
All right. Thanks.
I'd just like to mention that we will be holding our next local planning committee meeting for the New York Forward on the 23rd of October at the West Falls Fire Hall, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And that will be the final LPC meeting. We will be approving slate of projects, and after that, it goes on to the state. They narrow it down from there. We'll get started on actually some construction, hopefully by late spring, early summer next year.
Is there, I haven't seen that, they usually put out that flyer. Has one of those gone out yet? That little digital flyer they usually do in their meetings, and then I put it on Facebook. Have you seen that for this
Should
meeting?
be.
Okay, I haven't seen it through the normal channels, but I'll go out and look for it.
Okay. Check on that. Next is audience 2. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the board on any subject, please step up to the mic, give us your name, address. Let us know your thoughts. Seeing no one, next is staff reports. We'll start with Liz.
Nothing tonight.
Chief?
Good evening. We're at the police department. We continue to fill some vacant positions in dispatch. I have 2 new part-time dispatchers and a new full-time dispatcher. The full-timer doesn't create a new position. We had somebody that decided to move to Oregon and start a new life, so he vacated that position, and we just filled the vacancy there. We're doing a lot of training. We now have 2 car seat safety technician installers and inspectors. My hope is to have at least a 4-hour clinic once a month where folks in town here and even probably from out of town will come and make sure their car seats are inspected and up to snuff or installed correctly. I have 2 officers that are going to advanced level mental health crisis intervention school here in the next couple months. So along with this movement nationwide of getting more mental health care, along with law enforcement, hopefully they can bring that training back and pass it along to the rest of the officers as we continue. As you'll see in my monthly report, we continue to have a number of mental health evaluations that head downtown to the county each month. So we're working with that. Today, the second of 2 new police vehicles was put on the road, so that replaces 2 older models that ultimately become auctioned off. Specific to the town, the construction zone on Davis Road, the officers are watching that constantly. I know Facebook would make you think otherwise, but we are there every day. We make a point of emphasizing highway safety in the hamlet of West Falls for the workers and the residents. And we continue to see not the speeding issues that are reported in social media, but we're going to stay on top of it and make sure it stays that way as the final coat gets put on and the construction people disappear. We're going to make sure that the speeds stay where they need to be there. And without talking too much more, I'll hit on the Garden Club's deer population issue, and I'll say that in my career here, the biggest reason for smashing up police cars is deer. And we're happy, and I'm happy as the department head to help get involved and do what we need to do to make that, a safer thing for our residents. Like Joe was saying, with his brother-in-law, it's not just about the eating of plants and things like that, but the highways are very, they become dangerous with these deer, especially with the rut coming up. I'm also cognizant of the fact that we deal with multiple layers here. We have a state park. The state park might have a certain feeling about it. So, there's going to be different layers to approach. We just can't, she handed me this, I just can't go out tomorrow and enlist 15 of my officers to do what these papers say. But we're willing to help work on a plan and come up with something. And I will say a lot of the issue is, a lot of folks don't let people hunt anymore. There's a lot of posted property in our town, and it's trespassing. So you can't encourage folks to go onto private property to hunt without permission. So I think, there's a slippery slope, but I think we could probably make a dent in it somehow, some way, if we maybe form a committee, and I'll be glad to be on that. That's all I have.
Do you know much about nuisance permits, Chief?
Normally, landowners, if you own a certain amount of property, can apply for a nuisance permit. And you have to have a hardship, I believe. So if you're a farmer and the deer are destroying your crop and you've got X amount of acres, I believe you qualify. You have to go through a process. They issue you that. I will look into a public safety aspect of that, whether a certain amount of car deer accidents qualifies for a nuisance permit. But again, we're talking about folks' private property. I think there's a discussion to be held about town property at some point and who would be the people enlisted to do such a thing. But there's a lot of brainstorming that's going to have to go into it before it gets carried away in an open meeting.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what this is, just brainstorming. If we took some of our property owners who own bigger parcels and we just sat down with them and suggested this, they might go for it.
And yes, and as big of a problem as it is, we can't forget the fact that there's been so much building in the town of Aurora in the last 20 years. There's so many new homes. It pushes them around a little bit, and you have to discharge weapons safely, and that's a big issue. You can't be too close to houses and residences and things like that. So it's really going to take an involved plan. I mean, I think it's worth looking at, but at the end of the day, we don't want anybody getting hurt because we're so ramped up about lowering the deer population.
And it's not just our issue. You brought up a good point, too, in the fact that, with migration and also with population density, it just pushes those deer around, okay? And they have a safe haven. in this area,
do.
right?
Right.
So they can, like, I got an 8-point buck that comes to my backyard on a regular basis. My little golden doodle chased that buck away the other day. I didn't realize it was out there. And, it's a big deer, and I've never seen a deer that big in our neighborhood. So, it's more a regional issue than just us. So what I'm getting at is there a way of partnering with Orchard Park, with Elmo, all those, to try and get a bigger plan together, not just concentrating on this area?
Yeah, push some
That's why I asked her if she had been speaking to local towns, because
That's a good point.
you're not going to solve the problem just.
No, just here. They'll just come from Elmo or someplace else.
Thank you, Chief. Donna?
Just a couple of things. Thanks for the comments about our energy saving. We're pretty diligent and I try to stay on top of everything within the building. We're real excited. I'm sorry. We're excited. Chuck was over to, we had our new stove, our new 10-burner stove, and the ovens delivered and installed. That was fantastic. And also a new steam table. It's all from Erie County funding from their ARPA funds. They are going to also replace our dishwasher. So between them, it's probably like $25,000. The dishwasher is amazingly expensive, but it was nice. It was wonderful. They certainly worked with a lot of the senior centers, but we were real pleased. I was pleased we were able to find some funds also to have it installed professionally. Not that the highway wouldn't necessarily know how to install it, but we did have to have them come out twice and do some adjustments already. So that's great, but it's beautiful in that kitchen. They were, 23 years old, both pieces of equipment, and also when the dishwasher goes. So it's really nice over there. Certainly come on over and look if you'd like to, just not while they're cooking it right at noontime. But it's been really good. They've been great. We got also that the technology piece before last year with the big screen TV and all that. So the county's been really good to us. So otherwise we would just been busy with everything. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. Paul? Rod? Yeah. And with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, can I have a second?
You bet. Seconded.
Second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.